We're in the TechCrunch studio today with Davy Kestens, who's a co-founder of TwitSpark. Davy, welcome to the studio.
Glad to have you. Well, glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So you are co-founder of TwitSpark,
Mm-hmm.
and you're this crop of young kind of CEOs here in the Valley, coming over from Europe. Tell us a little bit about when you started banging on computers.
So I started banging on computers around like 12 or 13 years old. The local city, it's the time when the internet was hip, new and trendy, and everybody wanted a website. So the local city spent so much money for their personal website, but then they decided they also wanted a youth website, and they were out of money. So they ran some contests for the youth of the city to develop their youth website. And I think there were like 3 contestants, but I won. Yay! The most horrendous thing you could basically
Those are good
find
odds.
on the internet. It was like GeoCities type of website.
Okay.
And then they gave me a Nokia 3210. I was super mad at them because it didn't have Snake 2 and the 3310 recently came out. But because of that, I had a lot of press, national press in Belgium because of that 13-year-old kid doing that. And I started building websites as a freelancer during high school for all like bakeries and small companies nearby. In my town and the towns around.
And which town were you in Belgium?
It's called Donk in Herrie de Stad in Limburg, which is about an hour drive from Brussels.
Okay.
But everything is an hour drive from Brussels.
Right.
It's such a small country.
And all this stuff that you had learned up to this point, all self-taught from reading books or reading things online?
Yeah, so most of it was via reading things online and just, self-taught, a few books. Windows for Kids was my first book.
Windows for Kids.
Windows
Sounds
for
like
kids.
fun.
Not really.
Okay, so now you're in high school and you're freelancing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sort of developing your skills. What happens then?
So basically I have to do over 2 years of high school because I'm more at home working on websites than actually going to school. My parents weren't really proud of that. They were like, Davey, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your life. But I started building relationships with companies within my cities around where I lived. And then my last year of high school, I did like a mini internship, 2 or 3 weeks at one of the companies I was already freelancing for, and they offered me a job right after that. And at that point, I would be getting a wage that was higher than my mom's wage, a car and a gas card included. So what are you going to do as an 18, 19-year-old kid?
And so what did your parents say?
I was wasting my life away because I wasn't going to college. Same thing.
So did this cause a lot of fights, or did they say?
No, not really. I've always been the type of boy, let's say, that wants to do its own thing, and eventually I'll do it anyway. So, I mean, they were mad about it for a week or so, and then everything was okay.
Okay, so now you worked at this company for how long, roughly?
So I worked at the company for about like 11 or 12 months.
Okay, then you enrolled in college.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then what were you doing there?
While I was working at the company, I kind of submitted a business plan as a new 18, 19-year-old kid to tear the company in 3 parts because they were all doing like different kind of things that didn't really work together. But when that fell through and I realized I'm more of the entrepreneurial type of guy, I started a few websites in between. I thought like, hey, I had so much free time during high school, and college will probably be the same thing if I go study web design or development or something, because I was already pretty knowledgeable about that. And then during my first year in college, I think my teachers, I think they gave me an overview that in the entire year I was maybe 20 hours in class, and the rest of the time I was just living on my parents' expense and building new projects, like a running blog, a marketplace for unique content, and I started working on the idea of TwitSpark.
Okay.
And then almost halfway through my second year in college, I dropped out without telling my parents, and they found out about a month after that that
wow.
I dropped out when they received back half of the tuition money. And I was like, that might be a mistake. I'll contact them to check it out. But I was busted.
Okay. So now you founded TwitSpark, created TwitSpark, and then walk us through how you left Belgium to come to San Francisco.
Okay, so I started working on the idea of TwitSpark like late June last year.
Of 2011.
Right, of 2011, yes.
Okay.
and then posted a single web page on the internet saying, hey, I'm going to build this product. And in a matter of a month and a half, I got 2,000 subscribers. I got a call from Edelman Digital in Chicago wondering when this product would be finished, and it kind of get me the feeling that this might be something. So I started working on the product over the summer.
Because you had been working on so many little projects that when you saw this one kind of pick up,
yes,
it gave you some intel that, hey,
yeah, this one might actually become huge. So I developed it over the summer, and then halfway through September of 2011, I launched the platform, and immediately, like, DDB, the advertising agency, picked it up for a Volkswagen project. So our first customer was a Volkswagen. Nice, let's slap a logo on our new website. And then suddenly, once you reach a level of appreciation within your peers and within the co-working space I was working in Belgium, it's a Beta group, they started introducing me to other people from the Valley. For instance, Sebastian Deleu, the founder of Playfish, who sold to EA Games. He was kind of reaching out to young entrepreneurs from Europe who might be interested in coming over. So I got an introduction to him, and I flew to him, I think in November of 2011.
okay.
We had a nice dinner here in San Francisco. And right after dinner, he proposed that he would be interested in leading a round for me, and that was really cool. He's a really kind guy, and it just got things rolling. And then we closed our investment early 2012.
Great. And so how was it just moving over here? I mean, now being in San Francisco, you're a very young founder. You've raised, now how much money have you raised?
1.1
in angel funding.
Yes, in angel funding from Sebastian, Founders Fund, Social Plus Capital, and a lot of European funds as well.
And how many employees do you have now at TwitSpark?
Right now we're with 8 people, so 4 developers, me, my co-founder Finn, Katie, our writer, and John, who's our awesome sales guy.
Great. And so do you miss being in Belgium? Do you miss being in college, or is this?
I don't miss being in college because I knew when I signed up that I wasn't going to finish it. And the awesome part about the US and San Francisco specifically is the way that people look at startups and how they're being treated by the government, because when you start a company here in San Francisco, you're being congratulated. If you start a company in Belgium, the first thing you get is a letter from the tax that you need to pay them. So it's completely different how people look at companies, and especially startups when you're young. And it's just a lot more interesting to set up a company here, and it made the process smoother.
And so what are some of the things you find challenging being sort of young CEO of venture-backed company?
The most challenging part is the lack of the size of my network, because larger and more established CEOs and the founders and managers at larger companies, they've been around for a while, they have their extensive network, and for them to get a big company like Verizon or AT&T to trial their product, they just pick up the phone and call someone who works there. I don't have that luxury, nor do my co-founder or the other people who work at our company. So that's the biggest
What about
challenge.
what about personal challenge about living here? Do you feel like it's tough to meet people?
I don't think it's tough to meet people, although because we're more into the B2B and I try to stay focused at the company, I don't network as much, or I don't go to every single meetup I can find.
It's probably a good thing.
Yeah, probably. But what I did notice that as soon as you start asking the right question, you start getting introductions to very interesting founders and very interesting people, and that filters through the entire group of people that you can reach out to.
Great. So tell us a little bit here at the end just about TwitSpark, kind of what it is, and you mentioned you're in the B2B space, right? So what are you guys trying to do?
So TwitSpark is a platform for teams within larger enterprises to efficiently do their customer service over Twitter and later other social media channels. So unlike other platforms who are more aimed towards smaller companies, we really make it our goal to make it as fast, quickly, and efficiently as possible for a team to organize, communicate, and reply to their customers' concerns over Twitter. And what really sets us apart is that we really focus on customer service rather than just marketing in general and tack on the customer service or engagement aspect like a lot of bigger companies do right now.
Right. And so is the idea there that a lot of people vent or gripe over
Yes.
Twitter,
Yes.
especially, right? And so
Yes.
there's creating a channel to kind of track and follow up with certain complaints.
Yeah, exactly. So right now, what you notice, especially in the airline industry or the banks or any big service provider like let's see, mobile operators. If you go look on Twitter, what people are saying about them, they're literally tweeting at them with a question like, "How is my rate doing? Why is my flight canceled?" And there are already quite a bit of good examples of companies like, for instance, KLM, Delta, AT&T, who are replying to the customers and really have a customer service
But do
team.
you think that those kinds of companies, like the ones people love to complain about, the airlines and everything, do they have an incentive to write back?
Yeah, there are quite a few incentives because by doing there's like the term of call avoidance. Calling into a call center, it's annoying for the customers and it's very expensive for the company. The average call is maybe like $48 per call, while a tweet, one single agent can respond to hundreds of tweets per day or even per hour, depending on how efficient they are. And also for the customer, it's very interesting because you're doing what you're doing. You send them a tweet, and 20 minutes later, you get a tweet, but you weren't on call for 20 to 30 minutes. And it's just a faster way of communication. And I really think it like lowers the barrier for brand and company to consumer communication, and that makes a consumer love our company more.
So the final question is, when you first created it when you were in college, what was the insight you had to create this? What drove you to make it?
So before this, I worked on Ghost Bloggers, which is a content marketplace, and from the start of launching it, I promoted everyone who was on the platform to reach out over Twitter because I was doing it on my own, and it just looked like a cool way to communicate with them quickly and not getting a million emails. And then I wanted to build a system that allowed me to easily and more efficiently do it because I couldn't find anything online to actually store it all and manage it efficiently. And then I published a landing page that I was about to create that program, and from there on it just exploded.
Great.
So that's it.
Well, congratulations to you and the team, and we'll be watching to see what TwitSpark does.
Thanks. Awesome.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
All right.